everyone, welcome back to Living Electric. I'm not going to say it that way.
You sound exasperated.
Yeah, right? Let's just start the episode off that way. Yeah. It has been a busy week, and we have lots to talk about today. So we are going to have a very random episode, but we're going to wrap it up with Alex talking about a summer road trip that he is taking.
Yes. Yeah, lots to talk about. There's been a ton of EV news this week, and I think we're both like kind of worn out trying to cover everything and talk about everything. But we figured we kind of start off on a lighter note. This Onion article has been going around Twitter. I know both of us got a pretty good kick out of it. It's called Americans Explain Why They Prefer Gas Over Electric Cars, and we'll link the article down in the show notes, but we thought we'd each share our favorite blurb from the article.
Do you want to go first?
Sure. So for those that don't know, The Onion is like a satire news source, so these are all like fake, obviously, and we're not trying to like be rude to anybody. We just kind of found these amusing of similar things that we hear people say about electric cars. So mine is from Jillian Grunenberg, who's a librarian. This is all a fake name, obviously. But she says, "I'm waiting to skip electric and go straight to nuclear." Which I am too. I love.
I am too. Jillian, right? That was her name?
Jillian Grunenberg. Yep.
Yes. You know, Jillian Grunenberg speaks the truth. We need nuclear-powered cars right now.
Right.
Yes.
So I hear that. I don't hear it as often, but I do hear people say, oh, well, like electric's just kind of a fad. It's not going to be around very long. Hydrogen cars are really going to be where it all breaks through and like really becomes popular. So I'm waiting for that. And it's like, I feel like people aren't really. They're just like don't want to change. And they're like, I'll wait till it's like really, really good. So I don't know. Thought that one was entertaining. So Brandon, what's yours?
Well, my quote comes from Henry Dalton, and he's a cook. I've been complaining about high gas prices for the past 35 years and wouldn't really know what to do with myself if I stopped. And the thing is that like even though that's like pure satire, I personally would drive gas powered vehicles, and like I have a lot of friends and family who like we would have full on conversations about gas prices. So like I felt like now that we obviously don't even look at like the gas prices, even though we still talk about them, like I just feel like nobody would really know what to do with themselves if that wasn't a topic at the dinner table.
Man, electricity is just getting real expensive these days. Like, people don't really say that. So.
No. Let's compare electricity bills.
Right. Yeah, that's not generally a topic of conversation I bring out at the dinner table. So, yeah.
No, I love The Onion. Like when you sent this to me, I was so excited to read through this. There's a few dark ones, but they're pretty funny.
Yeah, we were going through before this. We were like, I don't really feel comfortable reading some of these on the show. So if you want some more dark humor, definitely check out the article because some of them are pretty creative. So.
Yep. Well, now in more EV news, since we've been keeping up with a lot this week. Yes. The Chevy Blazer EV was unveiled this week.
Yes. And you love it, right? I think I saw your Facebook post. You're debating whether or not you want to put a reservation in.
Yeah, I really like it. I think it's like it's based on the same platform that the Cadillac Lyriq is based on, but it's obviously the sportier cousin of the Lyriq. Right. And I really like how it looks. I see some design copying from like NIO, like from their I think it's the ES8 SUV or the ES9 SUV in the front. But the Blazer just looks beautiful, and I think Chevy did a really good job with the interior as well. Like it looks more upscale. But I know you don't necessarily like it.
Yeah, I don't know if I've shared this on the show before or not, but I am not a big fan of like SUVs generally, especially like kind of the modern looking SUVs. I do like the boxier ones. I actually really like the design of the new Escalade. I don't know if you've seen that before, but like,
oh yeah,
that's a really nice looking. Yeah, they're gigantic. Like, probably not worth it for like your daily travels, but if you want to look like a baller, like the Escalade's the way to go. But I really like the design of that. Like the Rivian R1S, I really like.
Yeah,
some of those boxier SUVs I really like. But these, like, I'm generally just not a huge fan of these kind of like weird like crossover SUV type ones that they're like, it almost feels like they're trying to do too many things at once. They're like, we want it to be sporty, but also like you can fit 8 people in it, and also like you can fit a whole picnic table in the back, and like all this stuff. So I don't know. I think just how scattered it is almost kind of is part of the reason I don't like it. And I really don't like the big like faux grill up front. I'm just not a fan of that. So
yeah.
You
know, at first, like I wasn't the biggest fan of like the faux grill either, but like I'm kind of like OG when it comes to like the front end of EVs, like the old Model S, how it had like the nose cone versus like, you know, like a flat front like grill is. I like that. Like, I think for like a lot of people who are like so used to seeing a vehicle that has a grill, they would appreciate that. But like the 1LT and the 2LT versions of like the Blazer, I really like that it's body color, because like it looks like a grill, but it also makes it look more like an EV.
Gotcha.
But I agree with you when it comes to like boxy SUVs. Like that's like we've had these conversations before. Like if I can have an R1S or like an electric G-Wagon, that would be like where I want to be at. But like the wagon, I think like the Blazer looks almost like a station wagon in a way. Like it looks like a taller station wagon.
Mm-hmm. I actually didn't realize. I've only seen pictures of the SS, so I'm just pulling up some pictures now. I actually like the look of the 1LT and 2LT way better. I like the body color way better. So that's one of the few things I think we disagree on the podcast is exterior design language. So yeah, I very much like the more sleek, like minimalist type exterior. So
with that being said, we have a conflict now, and this is the last episode of Living Electric. No, I'm just kidding. I feel like I made that joke so many times.
We're canceling the show after this. Yep.
Yeah, canceled. It's canceled. Yeah, I know. I'm excited about the Blazer. I know that like some people aren't exactly excited about it. You know, specifically a lot of people who, you know, are Tesla fans. But like when it comes to like competing against like the Mach-E and the Model Y, like I think it's like in the perfect price point and category for it. But I do want to say that if we ever do get one as a media vehicle, we need to test fitting 8 people and a picnic table. Like we need to make sure that that's like our criteria.
That's the true test. Yep. And still go 0 to 60 in under 4 seconds.
Right. But we have to strap the picnic table down because it might go through the glass, or the rear glass.
Yeah, but I mean, overall, not to like bash on the Blazer, I like seeing all these new EVs coming out is awesome. Like there's we're a great case here. Like you love the look of this and I don't, and having those options is great, right? Like I agree with that completely, that having more options for people is really the goal here. So I'm not trying to like bash on it and saying don't buy it. Like there's a reason that they built this vehicle and people are going to want it. So I love that part of it.
Having choices is a good thing.
Right. Oh, they got a red interior too. I do like that. That looks pretty slick.
Well, okay, so here's my thing. I actually don't like the full red interior, believe it or not. I like right? Oh, here we go. Now I don't like the car. No, I'm just kidding. No, I don't like the full red interior. I like the RS trim that has like the red and black. Like it has like the red accents with like the black inserts. To me, that looks more put together. When it's all red, it just looks like ketchup to me. And
that's
like,
fair, yeah.
I don't know. I've just never been the biggest fan of like a solid red interior. I think it depends on how it's done.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So I would probably get the RS over the SS, with that being said.
Yeah.
But it would be a red exterior, obviously. So
yeah, the red exterior does look good. What about charging? I didn't see any specs on that. Do you know?
Oh, it can charge at a green 6 or 190 kilowatts.
Oh, awesome. Okay. That's great.
Yeah. It has a standard 100 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is pretty good. Well, I guess I shouldn't say standard. The higher trims get the bigger battery. The lower trim gets a smaller battery pack.
Gotcha.
I don't believe there's confirmation, but what I've seen online is that it's like a 68 kilowatt hour battery pack for the standard one.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
And GM, we got to call you out here. I'm on your website right now. You've got Living Electric on here with more information about what it's like living with an EV. So I don't know what came first here, but I feel like you stole our name.
At least we can collaborate, you know?
That's true. Yeah, GM, you're welcome on to talk about the Blazer. So
yes, yeah. We could get somebody from GM on here.
Cool. So what else has gone on in the world of EVs? Oh, I was gonna say there was a Pete Buttigieg was being questioned about something. I don't know the whole context, but there was a lot of exchange about EVs in Congress recently. So there was a really cool video where Pete Buttigieg talks about like prices of EVs, because that's like a common misconception, and all the people questioning him had some misconceptions about price, and he brought up some great examples of EVs that are affordable and normal Americans can buy.
First of all, I want to be clear. Nobody I know, certainly not me, thinks that all or even most Americans can easily afford electric vehicles. That said, I'm struck by this $55,000 number that keeps going around. I knew this might come up, so I just pulled a few of the latest prices. A Chevy Bolt, so an American-made 2022 EV is $26,595. If you want a pickup truck, like a Chevy Silverado EV or Ford F-150 Lightning, the starting prices of those are $39,900 and $39,974 respectively.
These misconceptions about EVs don't stop like in just the people you might hang around with or at public events. Like, it goes all the way up to the top. So I think the work we're doing or trying to do here is like very important and helping people understand like, hey, these are still like ideas and falsehoods that are being perpetuated. So
yeah. And I mean, like, I don't want to say it's dangerous, like, because I feel like that might be an extreme way of saying it, but like when
right.
you have misconceptions at a policy level, that just doesn't end well. And I like that Pete Buttigieg, kind of, I can't remember exactly who the representative's name was who was talking about like finding pricing from a year ago on Kelley Blue Book.
Right.
And, like obviously using outdated information and like presenting that in a manner of that, like, public stance. I really like that Pete Buttigieg like came in and be like, hey, that's already outdated. Like, that information is a year old. That's not what it is today. Let's talk about the facts. Yeah. And I agree with you. Like, I think it's important with what we're doing to get proper information out there. And hopefully, at some point that gets up to the policy level, because the policy is going to impact everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know what, like we talked about earlier, but like even information that is 2 years ago is already out of date just because the space is moving so quickly. So like, not to like give everybody a pass, but like it is hard to keep up with if you're not looking at it every day. Like, the Chevy Blazer was announced last week. Like, most people probably won't hear about that for another 6 months. Like, oh wait, there's an electric Blazer? Like, this news doesn't travel as quickly if you're not kind of in the space like we are and like really nerds about it, like like some of us are. So I get it, and I think it's just going to take time where people are like, oh, well, that's changed in the past 5 years and things are different now with EVs. So but the main point there was like there's a lot of low cost EVs right now, and like doesn't even necessarily need to be a full EV, because I think Pete talked about him and Chasten got a Chevy Volt with a V for like $14,000 plug-in hybrid, and they can plug it in and get to work or do whatever they need to around town. So there's certainly more options out there than a full-blown EV, like a full-blown like Tesla Model S or something that's going to cost you $80,000. So
yeah. I mean, there's great options under $35,000 now, like the Bolt and like the Bolt EUV. Like, they dropped the price significantly, and it doesn't charge the fastest, but you still get over 250 miles on a full charge, and it's a fun car to drive. Like, and the new ones are much better in terms of like the interior like materials and everything. Right. So like, there's a lot of great options out there. I just think a lot of people like think when they think EVs, they think Tesla, and like they think like the $80,000+ vehicles, and you have that category. But it's important to highlight them because there's a lot of good cars under $40,000. And I would buy another Bolt. Like, if we needed a third car, I would absolutely go buy another Bolt because it's a great value. But we don't need one. So that's my recommendation. Well, we've been extremely busy, but like we've been trying to do that EV misconception series, and like our second video for like battery lifespan and like diving into like recurrent autos, like battery data set is like taking off. I mean, like we have almost 700 views for that video so far, which
Nice.
I mean, our channel is relatively small, but like a lot of people are interacting with it.
That's
and,
great.
It just goes to show you that people, at least this gives me hope that people are looking for proper information on
Right.
that.
They're at least researching for it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's step one for sure.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, what was I gonna say? It was something around like EV misconceptions. I have no idea. I can't remember. It's gonna bug me the rest. I'll think of it like 10 minutes later.
Right.
Well, I was gonna say the other thing, like EV related. I think the goal really is electrifying vehicles in general. So I don't know if any of you have been following me, but I've got an e-bike now, and I've been using that for a lot of local trips. So I think there's certainly more ways to electrify than people realize. It doesn't necessarily need to be an expensive car. It could be electrifying your mower. It could be getting an e-bike for your trips around town. There's all kinds of other ways to electrify your life, if you will. And I think all of those are positive things because the less stuff we're burning, I think, is better. So,
Yes. Yeah. I definitely think we need to do an episode highlighting the different categories of electrification because, like, there's a lot. Like, we've had an electric lawnmower for 3 years. The battery packs are holding up, like, perfectly. Like, we haven't seen any loss of life in them. And the thing, like, can do our entire property, like, on one battery.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, that's a great way to, like, cut emissions. And, yeah, I think we could do a whole episode on that.
Definitely.
I definitely want to highlight in one episode about generators because, like, we went to this food truck park recently. And, well, actually, yeah, we did too, a few weeks ago in Columbus. But, like, I was thinking of, like, all the food trucks that have just generators that are just going and going for hours.
Right.
Could there be obviously, like, a battery backup that they could, like, rely on? Like, I mean, like, obviously, I don't know how that would work with, like, their cooking and, their stoves. But, like...
Well, doesn't that one coffee truck that you guys go to have, aren't they, like, fully electrified?
Yeah, they're called Odd Dog Coffee. They're only open Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I'm giving them a huge shout out because, like, I adore them.
A little buzz marketing here.
Yeah, right. But, like, so they're a small food truck that the truck itself is diesel powered, but the rest of it is battery powered. So when the truck's sitting there, the entire day it's running off of the battery instead of running the gas or utilizing diesel.
So they use the diesel just for getting around, but when they're parked and serving coffee, it's battery. Yeah. Awesome. Okay.
Yeah, which is cool. I mean, and I believe they converted it themselves too. So.
Oh, nice. Okay. Mm-hmm. Cool.
So go check out Odd Dog Coffee in Cleveland Heights.
Yeah, we'll have to have that. I think they're a potential guest of ours, so we'll have to reach out to them as well, chat with them about their process because that's really cool. Yeah.
So. Summertime. It's blazing hot. Well, it is actually pretty hot. I just wanted to say a blazer pun, but
I was going to ask if that was on purpose or not.
Oh, it totally was. Totally was. So, you're going on a road trip soon.
I am, yeah. So, I don't know if we did a previous episode about this, but I am traveling to Deep Creek, Maryland again this year. So, we're going to be taking my car because that's the only car we have. Well, that works well enough to go that far. So, no offense to Mallory's car, but we're going to be taking my car, and it is. I looked the other day. I think it's a little over 300-mile trip, and it's going to take us about 4.5 hours to get there. So I plugged it in on ChargeWay, and it shows you where to stop, how long to stop, all that stuff. So we did this trip last year and planning to do basically the same thing. So we're going to drive basically like 2.5 hours, going to try to charge up to 100% at home before we leave. Stop about 2.5 hours in. Usually we just grab like food and then stop at the charging station so we can just eat while the car is charging because that's a good way to kind of kill two birds with one stone.
Yeah, that's a great way.
And then I can eat too. I'm not like trying to scarf down food while we're driving because that's not too safe. So that's usually what we do. We stop. I think ChargeWay said it was like I think it only said 10 minutes. So we're probably going to end up spending more time than that because I don't eat that fast. I might. I don't know.
But I've had dinner with you before.
That's fair. I might finish it in 10 minutes. Yeah, but we might stay a little bit longer than that, depending on how everybody else is doing with their meals. and then we'll be good to go and arrive at Deep Creek. But last year when we were there, I literally just brought an extension cord. I brought my mobile adapter, just stayed in, plugged into a 110 outlet the whole time. And you don't do a lot of driving while you're there because it's a reservoir, so it's literally all these nice houses around a lake. So like you drive or you boat on the lake, I guess, to get around. You don't necessarily like drive your car that often. So my car stayed plugged in a majority of the time, was able to charge up enough, and I don't think we even stopped on the way back because we were able to charge up enough and go. Wow. So I think we're going to do something similar this year. I do need to probably look at the house to make sure there's an exterior outlet somewhere, but I usually bring my extension cord anyway just to be safe. But yeah, that's the plan right now. So we'll see how it goes. Nice. should be pretty straightforward, but we'll see.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like it. It sounds like a great vacation and summer getaway.
Definitely. Yeah, we had a good time last year. It's very like recreational boating, so like it's a lot of like skiing and wakeboarding and like tubing, all that kind of stuff. So I got up on the skis last year, so I'm excited to try that again.
Nice.
I have never been water skiing before till last year, so get to try that again.
Yeah. Are you gonna do any wakeboarding? That was always like an interest of mine as a kid. Like I always thought like that'd be easier.
I want to. Nobody wanted to last year, and I didn't want to be like hog it the whole time. But I would like to try that this year because I feel like I'd be able to do that. So I want to give it a shot.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully, in the future, whenever you go, you can get one of those electric jet skis that I think it's Taiga. I think it's Taiga. They just came out with their Orca.
Nice.
It's all-electric jet ski.
Yeah, I've heard of them before. Yeah. Yeah, I did not see any electric vehicles of any kind on the lake, so I'm curious if I'll see any this year. I think the main reason is a lot of them are like rental vacation homes. A lot of them aren't private. They're privately owned, but they rent them out. Like it's not like people just live there year round. So it's a lot of vacationing people. So I don't think a ton of people have like super nice boats or anything because most people rent them. So yeah, gotcha. I'm curious if anybody will have any though. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you might see an F-150 Lightning or something.
Maybe.
Bring
we'll
your
see.
boat in.
Yeah,
you never know.
That'd be cool. So, but yeah, cool. That's the trip.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I'm kind of like jealous that you get to do like a road trip because like it's been so long since we've been able to do one, and like we haven't like done like a long distance electric one. The longest one was just going to like DC.
Right.
So yeah, hoping that we'll be able to do one that like involves more than one charging stop.
Yeah. It is funny when you start like kind of, I know I realized this pretty quickly. It's like people always ask you like, oh, when you go on a road trip, doesn't it take like so much longer? And then like you kind of think about it and you're like, how often do I take road trips that are like more than 300 miles from my house that would require multiple charging stops? And I'm like, you really don't. Like,
yeah,
we're both fortunate, obviously, to have like our family that lives really close. Like my family's in Indy, so everybody's like pretty close. And I've got family in Cincinnati. Like all of those are one or fewer charging stops away.
Oh,
but
yeah.
There's not a lot that like we need to take these long, extravagant road trips and super plan our routes and do crazy stuff anymore. So.
Yeah, I almost feel like I just want to go out of my way to experience that. Like, I mean, I did briefly when I worked for Tesla, but like, obviously the infrastructure is so different now.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, I just want to get out there and just, drive to Austin, Texas or something.
Right, right. We'll have to figure out a way. I know I want to do a big road trip, like cross-country road trip, before my free supercharger miles expire. Because I could essentially do the trip for free, besides like obviously like food and lodging and all that stuff. So, but like gas usually is a big component of like a long trip like that. Like it can be a significant expense. So being able to do it all electric would be pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
But,
yeah.
We'll have to see if I can somehow like take ownership of your car for a month so that you can use my free miles too.
Right. Yeah, we'll take that to California or something. That'd be cool.
Right. So I'm still trying to remember what I was going to say about the frickin'...
Oh, it's been more than 10 minutes.
I know. I cannot remember for the life of me. It was going to be something like, do you ever encounter people that think X about your EV or something like that? Not that like think it's crazy expensive, but like,
I mean, I definitely have like had like conversations where people like think that we're wealthier than we are because we drive an EV.
Oh, really?
Like,
okay.
Yeah. Obviously, like, I'm not like trying to like belittle like our situation because
Right,
we're very
yeah.
like fortunate and like lucky to be where we're at. But obviously, I personally I know that there's a lot more work to do. But yeah.
But you're still very much like average middle class though. It's
Yes.
not like you're balling. So
Yeah. Not yet. It could be facade, but
it's all a ruse.
facade. Yeah. Just hide those credit card bills. No, I'm just kidding. But like, yeah, but like the thing is that like we've had those conversations, and like I think a lot of people don't realize that like our Model 3 is our only vehicle. Like, like this is our one car payment. Yeah, it is a little bit more expensive, but like, well, I guess we're getting the mini, electric soon. But like, just based on like our lifestyle and like what we do with the vehicle, like it saved us a lot of money to go to an electric vehicle. Yeah, Teslas are a little bit more on the higher end, but like you can save a lot of money by going electric. And I think a lot of people need to realize that like if you don't fit, like if you don't have like a certain salary, like there's still used options you can go for, and there's still a lot of good new options, that still have like tax credits, like the Nissan Leaf. Like you can still get a Nissan Leaf with the federal tax credit and have it be a really affordable lease option. So I just think I think the conversation needs to be had that like there's more options out there than just $50,000 to $60,000 starting prices.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was some of the question I was going to ask is, do you still encounter people like that think an electric car is over $100,000 or something ridiculous?
Yeah.
And I think the answer is still very much yes, even though that is like coming up on a decade of being outdated, right? Yeah. So I think some of the early Model S's were over 100,000, but I think you're not paying near that much for an equally capable electric car in 2022. Like not even close. So
yeah. And my best or my favorite thing is that like I love when people are like, oh my god, it's really not that expensive, and it's like no, like there's a lot of like good vehicles out there that are just not marketed, that are not advertised, and like I know we ran into issues with our Bolt, but like I'll gladly recommend that to people. Because it's a great car, and it's not expensive at all. So, like, go get a Bolt.
I was going to say it's interesting. God, I'm, like, flaking out today for some reason.
Well, it is late.
I know. God, I'm, like, losing my train of thought real weird tonight.
I think your mind is just on vacation mode. I mean, you're leaving in 2 days. And,
I know. Yeah. It was the thing that surprises me the most is when people ask how much my car costs, and I'll tell them, go look on Tesla's website. Like the price that you pay is on there. I think that boggles like more people's minds than anything because people are so used to kind of the dealership experience.
Yeah.
And being like, oh, well, like, yeah, the MSRP is this amount, but we're charging this amount, and as a dealer, we're giving you this discount, and like all these, like, it's almost too complicated. And I'm glad more companies are kind of going the Tesla route. I think Ford is actually going to start doing this and start doing like a lot of sales online for EVs, and the dealer will just kind of facilitate the delivery and be support for service and stuff, which really I think is the way to go. Like that's where dealers make most of their money anyway, is through service. Like make them the best service people possible and leave the complicated car buying like to the online process that can be done so easily nowadays. So
I totally agree with you. Like I mean, like, part of my job with ChargeWay is like dealer tracking, and like I've seen so many dealers marking things up by like 50 to 60%. Yeah. And like I found an F-150 Lightning that was like $150,000, and it's like I get it, like supply chain, the market's tough. I understand, but like this is why people like the Polestar, the Tesla approach, where you can just order a car online and have it delivered.
Order it online.
Like,
yep. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
No,
I know Brandon Flash has been having a tough time with that. I've been following all his tweets. I think he just tweeted before we started recording that he bought a new car finally.
Yes.
But I know he's been looking and having a hell of a time just trying to find dealers that aren't marking things up. So I'm glad more are taking that approach, and it definitely, like, that's one of the reasons I don't think I'll ever buy a car that isn't like able to be easily bought online is for that dealer experience. It's like, I value my time way too much to go spend a whole like 8+ hour day in a dealership just to buy a car. Like, that's not, like, I'm going to leave. Like, that's just not worth my time.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. No, I totally understand. I with our Model 3 experience, I definitely was just like talking the entire time. So like,
right.
I felt like if Tyler and I weren't having like the time of our lives at that dealership. But
yeah, I guess you bought yours secondhand through a dealership. So what was that? I think you talked about it a little bit. Was that like somewhat easy or?
Yeah,
okay.
I would say so. And like they had the vehicle under MSRP, so like of a new long range, and it had less than 2,000 miles. So like it was a great experience. The one, well, I'm not sure if he's with the dealership anymore, but he was one of the sales managers, and he's been an EV fanatic for years. And like I actually delivered one of his Model S's to him without even like remembering. And so like they have the EV, knowledge. So like it made the experience easier for us.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's
it also helps going in there and be like Tesla tattoo, like easy.
Right.
Yeah. But, well, I think we covered a lot today.
Yes. Yeah, we packed a lot in a short amount of time. Anything else you want to cover, or you just want to make this a shorter episode here?
I think it's good to make a shorter episode.
Okay.
I want to put this out there. If anybody's listening who would like to be a guest on Living Electric, let us know, via our Twitter account, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We could definitely get you on the show and talk more about electric vehicles, especially if you're in the industry. We'd love to talk more with you about that.
Right.
But just let us know. We'd love to have you on.
Definitely. Cool. Well, thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll catch you all in the next episode.